Hi everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And taking a break, well, not really a break since we finished looking at the Combiner Wars Wave 2 Deluxe figures, I'd figured we'd take a look at the Wave 2 Legends figures. Much like Wave 1, this is a mix of new molds with retools, repaints of pre-existing figures. The new mold is, of course, Blackjack, who will be um, used as the chest plate of sorts for Menasor. We'll get to that when we take a look at Motormaster. And here's Huffer, who is a repaint of the Thrilling 30 Legends Target Master figure, Optimus Prime and Nemesis Prime, with a new head. Both should be available soon from various retailers, but we're going to start with a closer look at Huffer. As I mentioned, Huffer is just a repaint of the Optimus Prime Legends mold with a new head, which I am bringing up to take a look at right now. And as you can see, it looks like a stylized version of the G1 animation model with a more modern flair. Now, I'll be very honest. I like this mold, and I'm actually quite happy because this is the first use of the mold that I've gotten that's had the proper working bits where these shoulder pieces clip into the chest to open the windshield to reveal the Autobot logo, or like Matrix of Leadership if it was Optimus Prime. But realistically, we've gotten two versions of Huffer that I think are good and outside of an entirely new mold, a perfect classics version of the figure. First, we had that Cybertron Armahide repaint into Huffer for the Games of Deception set. And then a few years ago, we had that Power Core Combiner Huffer, which I think makes a better Huffer, even though this does look like a truck. My biggest issue, really, is the fact that this is this is all you get: the figure and the not ion rifle. And it's at the same price point as those Target Master 2 packs. And especially in the case of this mold, by not including the roller body, I think you're missing out on some great interactions. As you know, it could merge with the rifle in a couple different ways that we saw thanks to Takara. And also, the cab could tow it like a trailer. Um, it's like I think an exception should have been made since there is a lot of interconnected play value with this mold and that particular Legion Micromaster mold. I went ahead and skipped over the transformation since we've seen it quite a few times by now, and yeah, basically you have a orange Optimus Prime. That also looks a lot like Huffer, since the original Huffer toy was very much a cab over engine style truck. That also could tow Optimus Prime's old trailer. Of course, I'm going back to the G1 cartoon. I also sort of remember the original toy being a little brighter orange, but that could just be my memory. I mean, I did really like Huffer, so I was going to pick this up anyway, since I also skipped over that Prime Cyberverse Huffer, which was just the repaint of the Ironhide. But, I mean, there's nothing really much more to say about the figure here in vehicle mode. It's a repaint. I know a lot of people are going to skip it, which means this will be easy to find on the secondary market. And I'm sure if you can find an extra roller laying around, you can have a bit more fun with it. I do also find it funny that we still have that little peg in the top of Optimus Prime's head, or now Huffer's head, that can store the weapon. Who's ready to play some 21 with me? I'm sorry, I've been holding on to that joke. But here's Blackjack. Originally, apparently supposed to be, I think, Run Amuck or Runabout, whichever the black one was. This is the figure that I think a lot of people are more interested in from the Combiner Wars Legends assortment, just because it's a new mold and it's supposed to be the drone car from for Menasor, and to make that chest plate. A lot of ball joints. I like the colors of black and gold. It does come with a weapon, which I think is kind of cool, which will be the chest plate for Menasor. It's like some sort of hinged axe. I've tried, I've checked. There is no way to merge this with the sword of Menasor to make a more vintage-looking sword with like a more extended hilt. The sword's big enough as is, but it would have been nice to have been able to do that. So, yeah, let me just give you a good detailed look at that head. As you can see, not much to it. Very like a purplish blues right there. Nice colors for the figure. Let's take a look at vehicle mode. And here's Blackjack in its car mode. Um, Interesting note, this is going to be repainted into Hot Rod for a possibly to be as the chest plate for Ultra Prime, if the rumors are true that we're getting Autobot combiners. Um, that I think we'll see more soon. I mean, probably around Wave 4. But that's about it. I mean, it rolls quite nicely. The weapon does peg in to make the fins, which, as you can picture it as Rodimus, these will be its fins for vehicle mode. Unfortunately, there's no way to peg it in robot mode to get those more accurate fins. Now, to become the chest plate for Menasor, all you're going to do is remove the fins from back here and just go ahead and peg it into the two holes here. Now keep in mind that this is all dependent on which way you want the car to face, if you want it the front going this way or that way, but you do actually have to use quite a bit of force because one of the slots is slightly smaller than the other, but that's about it. There are two holes here, one which is made by the legs squeezing together, and it just goes onto the pegs. Now, you've obviously heard the reports by now that this doesn't hold well, and as you'll see with my Menasor, it actually holds quite nicely. The only time I've had it fall off is when I'm trying to remove limbs, but that's a whole nother thing for another review. I really wish I could recommend Huffer more as a pickup, but unfortunately, it's just really a repaint with a slight retool. I mean, the head's the head, and without that roller Minicon Target Master, you really are missing out on a lot of the play value of this figure. Blackjack, on the other hand, is really cool. It's a nice, solid robot that has a fun gimmick, which you may or may not choose to use, and if you don't, it's still a fun figure to have. Unfortunately, a lot of online retailers kind of foresaw the lack of demand for Huffer, and the only way to get Blackjack is to buy it as a set with Huffer, which is making it quite difficult to find on the secondary market. But apparently not that difficult since it was released early with Motormaster. I don't know how that happened. But if you can find them separate, go ahead, pick up Blackjack. But if you have to buy them as a set, Huffer is a good figure, and you really won't be that disappointed, especially if you never got a chance to pick up Optimus or Nemesis Prime. This is your old pal Chuck for Huffer and Blackjack. We'll see you next time.